Hello friends, I am preparing for my final year exams and thought of giving you a revision about second prescription. So let's start the second prescription. There are 6 second prescriptions told by Dr. Kent. So first we will understand what is second prescription. So the second prescription is prescription after the first one that has acted, which is said by Dr. Kent. The second prescription. So we will see what is first prescription. When the selected medicine produces some perceptible changes in the patient, it deserves the term first prescription. So when we have given the medicine in the prescription and it has acted, then only it is called as the first prescription. Otherwise it should be no prescription because it has not acted at all. So whenever the medicine acts, then only it is called as the first prescription. Otherwise it is a no prescription. And the second prescription presupposes that the first one has been a correct one. Means the first medicine we have given, if it is correct one, then only the second prescription should be given. It has acted and it has left alone to act for the full time. So then only the second prescription should be given. Then what are the different types of second prescription? So there is a mnemonic RACCCC, that is C for the 4 times. First, what is R? It is the repetition of the first prescription. A for antidote to the first prescription. C for change of remedy which have no relation with the first prescription, that is neither antidote nor complementary and nor the cognate. So change the remedy which is not related with the first prescription. Then second C is for complementary medicine, complementary to the first prescription. Third C is for cognate to the first prescription, and fourth last C is for change of plan of treatment. So we will see in the detail the different types of second prescriptions. First we will see what is repetition of the first prescription. So repetition of the first prescription can be done in the 2 cases. First case, when the old symptoms reappear after a period of few days to the few months having same relation with the generals and particulars. So the first prescription, after giving first prescription, when the old symptoms reappear after a period of few days. So it has acted for a short time and then again the old symptoms are reappearing. Then it means the first prescription we have given was the right one and its action has exhausted. Then again we need to repeat the same medicine. The case is under control and curable, and the second prescription must be the repetition of the former one. So we have to repeat the medicine when the action of first prescription has exhausted, and then second case when the case comes to a standstill. So when we have given a prescription, after some days the case does not recover or regress, then we have to repeat the first prescription. So we have to wait for a fairly long time for movement of symptoms, and if there is no movement after prolonged waiting, so our repetition of the first prescription may help to complete the cure. So this was the first prescription repeated. So we have to take note that when repeating the first prescription we have to change the potency always. So by different masters have same opinion that according to Dr. Kent, the same potency should not be repeated on more than 2 occasions. That is, when we are giving the medicine repeatedly, we have to change the potency, that is, we have to increase or decrease the potency. Most of the time it should be increased, but if the first potency given has exaggerated the symptoms, then we can lower the potency. Then according to Dr. Hahnemann, The medicine can be repeated if the case demands, but every repetition of the same remedy will be slightly changed potency from the former one. And also same by Dr. H. Robert, that the remedy should not be changed without a good reason. Remedy may be repeated at necessary intervals, though a whole range of potencies securing full amount of good from each potency before passing on to the next. So all the three doctors have said that when we are repeating the first prescription, we have to change the potency. Then the second prescription, we have antidote the first prescription. So when to antidote the first prescription in the second prescription? Anti means against and dotes means what is given. So we have to give the medicine which is antidoting the action, an agent which neutralizes a poison or counteracts. So what are the indications of antidote? Appearance of new symptoms, but not old, not the symptoms of disease, but are belonging to the medicine given. So when the first prescription has aggravated the case and the medicinal aggravation has occurred, then we have to antidote the first prescription. When accessory symptoms of the medicine after application of medicine, it must be presumed that selection has been incorrect. Accessory symptoms are the symptoms of drug that we have given in the first prescription. It indicates that there is a medicinal aggravation. The more numerous new symptoms are, the more the wrong the medicine has been selected. Then, if the new symptoms, that is the medicinal aggravation, is of a light nature, then we should wait till the new symptoms pass off, and after recase taking, a more similar medicine is to be given. And if the medicinal aggravation is of a serious nature and threatening, then we should neutralize it by the antidote without delay, and the previous condition will return. A more similar medicine is given after the recase taking. So why we have to antidote the case in case of serious nature and threatening medicinal aggravation? Because the vital structural changes may occur due to the medicinal aggravation. Then if there is a prolonged aggravation and final decline of the patient, which is the first observation of Dr. King. So it indicates that the case is incurable. The structural changes of tissues have reached to such an extent that even the best selected remedy acts adversely. So selected potency is higher than the susceptibility. So these are the three indications of the prolonged aggravation and final decline of patient. So in these circumstances, we should not wait with the placebo, as the condition of patient may gradually deteriorate. So it needs immediate antidoting. After recase taking, give more similar medicine in the lower potency. Then third cause to antidote the first prescription is that when the symptoms take wrong direction for cure. That is, symptoms start disappearing against Hering's law of cure. So when this occurs, the first remedy was partially indicated or it has acted as a palliative. These are the two reasons why the symptom take wrong direction for cure. So in these three cases, we have to antidote the first prescription. What are the three cases? When there is appearance of new symptoms, that is medicinal aggravation has occurred, when there is prolonged aggravation and final decline of patient, and when there is symptom taking wrong direction. Then second prescription we can give is the change of remedy, so which have no relation with the first prescription. Why we have to change remedy? So there are two causes for changing the remedy. First is when a striking new group of symptoms appear, leading to an entire change of base in the symptoms, which indicates a new remedy must be considered and a second prescription should be second remedy. Then when the symptoms have changed but the patient has improved, there is no need to change the remedy, but whenever in doubt, it is better to wait for some time. And when the symptoms have changed but the patient has not improved, then definitely change the remedy. Then complementary medicine. So in the second prescription, then we have to give the complementary medicine. So first we will understand what is complementary. Complement means one drug completes the action of the cure that has begun by the former one, but the former drug was unable to terminate and cure which later drug performs. So it complements the action of the first drug, that is completes the action. Then what are the indications of complement? If after continued improvement for several hours or days, symptoms do not completely disappear, rather show tendency to persist, we are to think of a complementary medicine in our second prescription. So there is one example. When the pulsatilla, at great in given case, finally cures no more, while symptoms now point to cilicia, later will be given with confidence at its complementary relation has been long established. So there are other remedies also, that is complementary medicines. We read it in the Materia Medica also. Belladonna complements calcarea, aconite complements sulfur, arsenic album complements thuja, noxomica complements sepia, brania complements alumina, and heparsulf complements thuja. So there are many remedies that complement each other, that they completes the action of the previous remedy after given in the second prescription. Then fifth second prescription which is possible, that is the cognate to the first prescription. So the medicines which are closely related to each other are called as the cognates of each other, but administering cognate is not a compulsory task, so it is optional to give. Why? If during course of treatment of chronic diseases any acute disease or symptom comes in between, so the second prescription should be preferable to the cognate of first medicine. Suppose example, if causticum is the first prescription for a chronic case, and after the application of causticum all the symptoms are relieved, but suddenly the patient gets an acute attack of sciatica. So this is an acute symptom in a chronic case. So what we have to give is the cognate. So the cognate will not disturb the action of causticum, because it is a cognate of causticum. So now colocynth is a cognate of causticum, and it should be our second prescription, which gives immediate relief to the patient of his acute symptom after subside, of which causticum may come in again for a complete cure. So this is the cognate. Example, bilious fever in a sepia constitution. A sepia patient with acute inflammatory attack demands for noxomica or its cognate. Then last one, change of plan of treatment. So in the second prescription, when we can change the plan of treatment, this is applicable in the treatment of mixed miasmatic diseases. So in a case, if there is also a psoric symptoms and psychotic or syphilitic symptoms which are mixed type, when the patient is treated for the particular miasm with corresponding anti-miasmatic medicine, it is observed that the symptoms of another miasm come up with the prominence with disappearance of previous miasm treated. So in such case, the plan of treatment is to be changed and new medicine is to be prescribed according to the present symptoms of patient. So what is example? In case of mixed miasmatic diseases with predominance of psora, suppose now the case is predominantly psoric. After the administration of anti-psoric medicine in the first prescription, all the psoric symptoms subside, but then patient suddenly develops manifestation of psychosis in the form of tumor appearing in different parts of body. So the psoric component of the part is cured, and now the psychotic changes are manifesting. Then in such cases, the physician should change the plan of treatment in the second prescription from anti-psoric to anti-syphilitic or antipsychotic according to the case. Several such changes in the plan of treatment may be necessary to complete the cure of mixed miasmatic diseases. So when we are treating some case for mixed miasmatic diseases, suppose we are treating firstly by giving the antisoric medicine and the antisoric symptoms go away, then we have to change the medicine. For now, because it is showing antipsychotic symptoms, we have to give antipsychotic medicine. That is the change of plan of treatment. So these are the 6 second prescriptions we can give. I hope you have understood the subject. Thank you for listening to me. Bye bye.